So you have all seen the movie Superman. I think the last, if you see the last scenes, then that punishment given to all the three thugs were that they were converted into 2D and sent to outer space. So we are bringing it back. Anyway, it is Superman 2. The topic for the day is changing dynamics of steel construction industry. I think there are more qualified people to tell about the steel construction and the other parameters connected to steel, but I'll try to touch upon what are the factors which will govern in the days to come. Yes, there are advancement in steel technology, the grades, the sections, there are other parameters, but those are becoming more and more back-end now. As a customer, it doesn't interest me whether the beam depth is this or that. I need a building, I need it in the shortest possible time, and I'm paying you the money for it. And the biggest example is that although we are bound by certain contracts not to tell, but the largest future factory was built by Zamil Steel, and that is what stands today. Nowhere you will see the name of Zamil, nowhere you will see the name of Siemens, nowhere you will see the name of other things. You will only see the brand for which the whole purpose was set up for. So that is the order of the day. It doesn't matter to you. Tomorrow, if you ask me that how many times you have taken a supply from Zomato or from Swiggy or from this and that, it doesn't matter. I've bought it. I've got the food delivered, that's it. What is the name of the person who has serviced the contract, who was the delivery person, it doesn't matter. So world has changed towards a faceless kind of a situation. It doesn't matter to me whether I purchased the steel from Tata Steel or JSPL or JSW. Or the other day I was in Hyderabad meeting a customer. He told me, look, every PB player takes the steel from all these steel suppliers. So what is so different about you? Yes, there is no difference with me, other than the fact that my capability and my value chain determines my success. So that is the challenge number one. Today, in a faceless kind of a scenario, I do not differentiate between any X1 supplier to X2 supplier to X3 supplier. Everyone is of the same range, same parameter, same. So what is differentiating is the price and how you extract the value out of the whole concept at the end of the day. Now, people have talked about how the steel construction industry has evolved over the years. I think 250 grade to 450 grade is a journey. But then again, what in India we are typically seeing a scenario is that people are moving back and forth. Somebody is still designing for 250 and somebody has moved on to 450. So these are the kind of things we'll have to face as a industry while we are designing and supporting the customer. What are the key challenges that we are facing today? If you look at currently the key challenge is basically the raw material price and how it affects. See, it doesn't bother to me whether the price is 72 rupees or 172 rupees. As a converter of steel, it doesn't bother me. It bothers the end customer more. What bothers me is the price from 38, it has gone to 72 in a span of 1 year. So that fluctuation, nobody can absorb and nobody can apprehend and nobody can justify. So that is the key challenge number one. What we are seeing in the market is that today, if you see across the segment, people have accepted that this is the price range which is here to stay. And somebody earlier has told that this will be staying for the next 2 to 3 years. Good, we are happy. I am not sad. My turnover increases without doing anything. The second thing is that if you look at from the concept of the product, and typically a big man like Chandrasekharan is on one end is happy that Tata Steel is posting the record profit. On the other hand, the equivalent same amount of loss is posted by Tata Motors. So you cannot complain and then also, हम लोग का शास्त्र में ही है, अमृत मंथन में विष भी निकला था, so विष भी निकलेगा. So that is the way we look at the industry. And today, if you see the project prices going up, will entail that the product prices will also go up. You cannot complain that tomorrow my car, earlier the car was say 20 lakhs and today it is 25 lakhs. You cannot complain because the input component has gone in, which is costlier now. Now, what are the ways to mitigate it? The ways, number one, although this is not the right forum, Abneet, but then again, you see the automobile industry, they at a point in 1950s where they were almost 100% steel. Today, they are only 36% steel. And I think the steel industry has also realized this, that automotive is not the segment where they can bet their future on. So it is the construction side or the civil or such industries where they have to focus now in order to sustain their business in the longer run. If you look at what is the what are the challenges we faced during this pandemic? Obviously, the raw material price increase was one. The other problem was shortage of oxygen. How, as a fabrication industry, we sustain business without being able to cut the metal in absence of oxygen? So technologies were discovered, or we had to hedge or search for technologies where we can cut plates without oxygen, and we successfully done that. And during the period of pandemic, this future factory was constructed, and we could deliver almost the entire material during this pandemic period. Also, if you look at what has happened to the site operating procedure, earlier people were operating in a certain method. Manpower was the key. The people thought that manpower is the cheap resource, so let us bet on manpower. Today, we are realizing that equipment usage should go up and manpower content should go down even at the site. It is not only the factory, even at the site. So manpower, it is a kind of a dichotomy that with the population increasing, the requirement of manpower is coming down. That is a dichotomy. And I'll later on elaborate what are the key challenges, other key challenges which the steel industry is facing. The supply chain and logistic management also has changed. Yesterday only I was discussing with someone, and one of the largest logistics players, he is now operating the fleet as we are operating the aircraft, or we are operating the the railway network. So every 300 kilometers, that particular organization has created rest houses and eateries by themselves, and they're just simply changing the driver. So there is the concept of double driver operating for 600 kilometers has gone out of the window. Every 300 kilometers, the truck comes, the driver gets down, the other driver goes in, and he drives another 300 kilometers, and from Delhi to Hyderabad, it is now taking him 36 hours. That same truck, which used to clock 300 kilometers an average per day, is clocking 1,200 kilometers average per day. Now, how does it affect the industry? You see what is happening to the commercial vehicle segment in all the automobile industries. They're down because the usage has gone up. The toll taxes have gone down. The fuel bills are coming down. It is the operating efficiency which people are focusing on. People are no longer looking at the capex model. They're trying to utilize the asset which is already there almost 24/7. So if then we should be scared of that we cannot grow perpetually. Then how do we survive in the business? We'll have to survive through operational efficiencies only. If you look at the pandemic, and even before that, I think the cloud has come almost now 5 to 7 years now. It has been quite prevalent. So we as an industry has also moved into cloud. The physical movement of documents, the physical movement of papers has all gone out. So it is every design is not loaded to the cloud, and it gets downloaded at the place where it is to be used. So I think the pandemic, what it has done, it has only accelerated the digitization process, and it is good for the industry. Let me tell you, it is extremely good for the industry. It is not only a requirement which we are preponing, but it was long overdue. Now, if you look at the future demands, so steel today, I was discussing with Prasad Raju that in the year 2000 we had to convince people to use steel, at least as short period as 20 years. Today we did not sell steel. People are convinced that steel is something that has to be readily used, whether there is a cost plus of 20% or 15% over RCC, and steel is something that. And the virtues of steel is something that everyone understands today, and there is nothing that we need to market it for. What we need to market for is that what is the benefit that you will get out of steel at the end of life. If you look at the major warehousing sectors, what has happened in a period of last 5 years, warehousing has gone through a boom. GST is a contributor. So if anyone who has land today is constructing a warehouse, now, what is the game plan? At 18 rupees a square feet rental, it doesn't make sense for him to build a warehouse. What makes sense is that at the end of the life, his land valuation will go triple at the end of 10 years, and he can sell steel at 50% of the value as scrap, even if he wants to scrap the whole thing. So the recyclability of the steel is also an USP of the basic material itself, which should help us in construction. If you look at from the other points, what are the critical challenges which the steel or the construction segment is facing? And this is where I'd like to hit the point for the audience, is the lack of critical manpower. The world is seeing a talent polarization like never before. Everybody is flocking to IT. A civil engineer passing out is going to IT. A mechanical engineer passing out is going to IT. People do not want to study metallurgy. People do not want to study civil in colleges. What will happen to the construction industry on the manpower front is something that we should all worry about. It is not about make a building. You will not get people adequately qualified and adequately educated enough to handle the construction and the requirements of the construction industry. And this is true for other industries as well. So as an industry leader, I'm very scared of what is the future for us. So I tell Dipankar, my director says that you should be thinking of what will happen in the year 2030, 2040, because that is the time when this talent crunch will come onto our industry as well. No fresh people with good qualification, good colleges are willing to join our kind of industry. Extremely challenging. I had been in one session where Amity Business School was introducing this construction management course, I think, and Firdaus Vanderwala and Anuj Puri, everyone was there. So he made a very light statement, although it is a very light statement, but it has got a meaning, that yes, you are starting this course, people are graduating. The true worth of these graduates will be evaluated when they're up in the marriage market. Whether the daughters will be willing to marry such graduates. I think there is a lot of message behind this, and there is a lot of merit behind all these things. Until and unless we glorify our industry and do not cut across each other to a level that we are only, I can tell you, I can give you an example. The Zomato syndrome will kill the industry in the long run. Zomato service segment is a typical 20s kind of a crowd. You think of the delivery boy, what will that person do when he's at 40, when he's at 50? Will he be able to run 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers in a day to deliver 10 deliveries to earn 200 rupees? It is okay at 20. It is not okay at 40. It is not okay, definitely not okay at 50 and 60. So we'll have to think of the world holistically rather than parochially and one-sided. I think the key challenge of steel industry and steel construction industry will also be such. You will not get people to manage and to do erection at sites, do civil work at sites, because people will be converted into service boys, delivery boys, and all those things. Okay, this pandemic, what has happened, the restaurants and hotels, their waiters have converted into delivery boys. But in the longer run, I see a bleak future when we cannot be able to get adequate manpower, skilled manpower to do wall binding, masonry, erection, and other jobs. In one of the seminars on welding technology, I was given a topic, and it was an interesting topic. The topic was the Modern Times movie, Charlie Chaplin. I think every one of you has seen it. It was released in the year 1939. And it was made during the year 1937-39, just before the World War II. So how do you visualize the world 2039? In fact, I'll just repeat it without wasting much time. I told the crowd that it is people who will be employed during that time, 2039, should be more worried than me, will not be employed during the year 2039. Because every 3 years the technology changes, every 3 years your skill set requirement changes, every say 3 to 5 years the company may not be the same company as it was even 5 years back. So time has come for people to realize that the sustainable brick and mortar model is something that we should bet on. Okay, I may be old school with a gray hair, but definitely the brick and mortar gives you longer sustainability rather than short-term, kicks what the other companies are giving. So I I think as a steel fraternity, Avneet, it is you and your जो भी है construction world सबको साथ, you need to glorify the steel construction, steel industry, rather than only talking about technology and the technical stuff. Technical stuff मुझे समझना नहीं है, वो है ना लोग क्यों करना? How does it make me attract to the steel construction segment? How does it bring talent in? That is what we should work as a theme in the coming days. I'll tell you, I attended one construction summit by Tata Steel in Dubai, and it was a very good show. And they had called over all the architects and consultants around the globe. And there was a hypothetical question which was answered, or rather, a case study was given by one of the global leading consultant. So what was his theory was that, what can be the maximum height of a steel structure that can be physically constructed with all the physical laws, circular, the world rotating and all those things. So he gave a solution. He gave a solution that it can be up to 1.8 kilometer high. Burj Khalifa is 834 meters. And the base of that whole project or the whole construction will be almost as wide as Dubai, circular. And the amount of steel that will be consumed in that, it will take Tata Steel 1,000 years to produce. I think TV Naranjan banged the nail. He said that let us be in business for the next 1,000 years rather than being out of business for rest 999 years. With this, thank you.